that's my kit. I think the only thing that I would change is, hey guys, in this video, we're gonna be talking about my gear, everything that I took on a recent hike where we were hiking towards Delano Peak. It was an extremely cold scenario. I had some new gear. I wanted to highlight all of those pieces for you in this video and also just show you what my entire kit looked like. For starters, what I was wearing some darn tough merino wool socks. I had our Dragonwool Bottoms. I had our Tern Hoodie, which is gonna be released here pretty soon if it's not already released by the time this video goes out, and the Satu Pants. Now I lived in all those pieces coming off the trail, and I had a few other pieces that I wore on coming in. Sunglasses were an extremely important part. These are some cheap sunglasses. I do not recommend them, but I do have some nice sunglasses that I'm gonna start using that showed up yesterday, so I'm stoked about that. These were pretty dang awesome. These are some carbon fiber.
That is a lot.
Apparently there's a little snow still tucked up in there. But these are carbon fiber airframe snowshoes from Komperdell. I was giving them a shot. They worked really well, other than the fact that we were putting them in a scenario where snowshoes just weren't gonna work exceptionally well. But what I did really like is they are super light, super light. They also have this toe cover that I got with them, this neoprene toe cover, and that really kept all of the moisture off of my boots, which really turned out to be helpful because I found that even the best of boots, typically having water sit on the seams over time and everything will eventually get into the boot. So I actually really like those. That was a big plus on the hike. I had, I'm gonna move all this snow off. I had some outdoor research gaiters. These worked really well too and were critical. Sometimes I'll just use the lower adjustment on the Satu Pants, but they would have absolutely overwhelmed the pants. So these were really, really critical. And then let's throw these up on the table. These are the boots I use. These are a Salomon Tundra boot. They're very insulated, very, very warm, and quite light. That was really the goal, is to get something really light, but also warm, and they did an exceptional job. So really like them. That was actually my first trip with them. And then moving on here, what was in my hands were these Komperdell poles. These are the Cloud Carbons with the cork handle, and then I had the snow baskets finally, so I finally got to take these. I was actually lifting these so high to get up and through the snow that my shoulders today are exceptionally sore, but they worked really well. Now, if you're interested in any of this, we will link everything below. My entire gear list will be there. So on the outside of the pack, the first thing you're gonna notice, first thing I notice, is this jagged ice axe. I've never had to use an ice axe, but we did pick one up for this due to the fact that it was going to be that type of trip if we were able to summit. So this is a Petzl ice axe. Up top here, I've got the Nemo Switchback. Let me get that out of the way. Here, this is my entire shelter. That has a stove jack in it, and all this is a Seek Outside Silex. That is the upgraded hot tent that I picked up after my failure or just lack of enjoyment of the hot tent I used in December. So I do recommend this one. I liked it a lot better. I wish I had pitched it still a few more times, but I got a really good pitch on it and it worked out a whole lot better. So I do recommend the Silex from Seek Outside. Now, I've got a footprint in here, which is just basically a piece of fabric. And then I've got a few stakes. These are the ones that I pull last. Now, I like to do this, especially on trail. I'll put everything in one of these big outside pockets because it's all moist. And I wanna have everything picked up, and that's the last thing I wanna pick up before I hit the trail. So I typically will leave one of these pockets open to throw all of that in right before I leave. In this pocket here, I do have my Ventus. I also try to leave a little bit of space in this for delayering as I get going. So I started hiking in the Ventus, and then I took that off pretty quickly, about halfway down the trail. Additional tent poles or tent stakes that I had, and then I like to leave this as well. This is the rain jacket on the outside for quick access. Really wasn't needed this time. It was snowing on us, but I was using a different piece, which we'll cover in a second. Some merino wool buff. If it's blowing and it's winter, that is extremely desirable. I'll tell you that. I should have had that on when I was pulling camp firewood because it was way cold. And then I've got my spoon. I always like to leave that in here just because it's a big long pocket and it's always going to be there for me. Now you'll see that this is all loaded in a 45-liter Shadowlight. This is my go-to pack. It's what I use winter, summer, all of it now because I can just fit everything I need into it. So I did have a 1 liter smart water bottle, a small Nalgene, and then another 1.5 liter smart water bottle that must have fallen out of my truck. but nothing too special there. I do typically run that Nalgene so that I can put hot water in it, and it has a little bit higher temperature range per se of putting hot water in it. But it really wasn't necessary. I think I'm gonna stop doing that when I've got a hot tent, because I get so hot when I'm getting into my bag at night. But if I'm not, that's one of my favorite things to do, is to heat up a water bottle. This is a tripod that I took with just a ball head on there. It's a slick carbon fiber tripod. In the side, I had some snacks. Still some quick access snacks here. This is what I put my sunglasses in. Just a cloth case and some trash. Obviously we didn't take trash in, but this is how the pack came out. I had a just a wind jacket, just a windbreaker. We were kind of trying some of that out. Worked out really well, actually. I liked having a wind jacket. You're sweating from the inside typically when you're going up the trail, and so it keeps the wind from cutting in, but it allows moisture to get out, and so for this scenario, it's a really, really good piece to have. Another thing I've got here in this upper pocket is quick access to toilet paper, and that's everything in my outer pockets.
Is that everything? I can see some of it in there.
I lied. This is the carry bag for the tent that I was not using. So, and I guess I can go through these. Now, I did have a GoPro Hero 9 in this pocket, along with 3 additional batteries. So I don't think I have those. I've given those to the guy behind the camera. These are some liner gloves from Outdoor Research, I believe. Just some polyester gloves. And I realized right before I went out that I don't have a pair of headphones that work with my newer phone, so I had to take my Beats headphones, which was way heavier than I wanted to be taking, but I did want those because they're sitting in your tent a long time at night. It was nice to have. Now this is basically, I don't know, this is my everything pocket. I've tried to leave this pocket open for filming and camera gear. Over here I've got sunscreen, just a little stick, chapstick. Sometimes I won't take chapstick, I'll just use this on my lips, which isn't a bad way to work. And then I like to leave my headlamp here so I always know where it's at. Quick access, quick grabbing. And then everything else in this pocket is snacks. You can fit a lot in these pockets, so this is actually it's kind of interesting. 2 things. This is a nasal breathing device. You may hear more about that. I'm kind of experimenting with trying to do more nasal breathing at high elevation. And the last thing I have here is my Gerber Dime. I recently did a video about my first aid kit. This is a part of my first aid kit because it does also have tweezers and little scissors. But I did end up using this in the video for sure. That came in handy when I had to repair some things. And then last piece here, I'll leave this on the pack, is my Garmin inReach Mini, which is critical on a trip like this where you're really pushing the limits. Okay, that's everything on the outside of my pack. I stuffed this in as I started, kind of last thing I did before I left camp. This is the NovaPro, which was massive out there. My body never once got cold. Legs sometimes, because I never put on the down pants, and then hands was kind of the biggest thing for me. So these are the gloves I was using, and I think I might try some different things in the future. Brigham had a setup that I was a little bit jealous of, but typically these work well. These are my Kuiu Gloves. So they're insulated, have a membrane in there, but I think I'm trapping too much moisture inside of them and getting cold. I've got a rain pant here, and then I've got a Toaks 700mm titanium stove, and the lid is on the bottom here. I do that now so I can pack more into there and save space. I packed a bunch of food, a bunch of food. So this is my remaining food, and this is just some trash. So I like to pack these in gallon Ziplocs, and after day 1, I move all the trash into this bag and know how much more I have to go. And I'm realizing now I have quite a bit of extra food. We did cut the trip maybe half a day short, so I might explain some of it. This is the titanium stove, and let's open. I broke the top on this. It was so cold when I was pulling this out. I snapped that. It was pretty cold. So in there, that's the stovepipe and some other parts that go to this, and then this is just all laying flat. So you can see this is just really packable, really easy to manage and take. I believe it adds about 2 pounds roughly, and then with how light the shelter is, I can be using a hot tent for well under 4 pounds total. This is the saw I typically take. It's just a Gerber saw. That's really, really helpful for that. So inside of here, I've got, this is a pillow, a limited run pillow we did for members at one point in time. This is my down pants, which I actually didn't end up using, but is always nice to have. This is actually a NeoAir Therma pad in the long wide. So I'm 6'2". Pump sack. This is what I hiked in with. This is a Sun Hoodie prototype that you'll probably be hearing more about soon, especially if you're a Live Ultralight member. And then these are like my sleeping socks. So this is just a really lightweight pair of darn tough socks that I had. This is my battery bank. Because I do so much filming on my phone, I do always take a battery bank even for an overnight, and it's so cold out there, it just zaps batteries like crazy. So I was carrying 3 GoPro batteries, that battery, and a few other camera items, which added to the total pack weight with 6 liters of water, no, 3 liters of water, so 6 pounds of water. All of my food and whatnot, I was about 32 pounds is what I remember. So obviously there's a lot of camera gear, tripods, everything like that, and then hiking out when I'm down a lot of food, down a lot of water, I was probably closer to 20 pound mark. This is my first aid kit. If you don't know what's in here, go watch the video. We will link it up here. I did have to use this for 2 things. For a line, I pulled across the inside to hang stuff in the tent, and also to repair a bag that I very bitterly damaged in a moment of not thinking. Last item in here, I believe, is this puppy, and this, let me just peek in here because I might not get it all the way out. Yep. So nothing else is in there except for 2 sleeping bags. No, I lied. There's something, I'm gonna pull it out. So just 1 sleeping bag. No, I'm just kidding. Check this out. Inside of here, I had a 30-degree top quilt. This is a 15-degree summit. And what I also have bundled in here right now is down Booties, my Lofttech hybrid Booties. And there's another one in here somewhere, and then my hood. I slept incredibly warm. I was really surprised that waking up and having it be, close to negative 15 degrees is my coldest night on trail that I've ever recorded, but I was warm. I was really comfortable. And so this system worked well. If it was colder and I didn't have the hot tent going, like when I was falling asleep, I would probably put this on the outside so that it gets maximum loft. Obviously there's gonna be some level of compression in here, but it does just fill all the nooks and crannies, and it's a warm combination. I really like this combination, especially if you're on a budget, because you've got a 30-degree quilt for the summer, you've got a 15-degree bag for shoulder seasons, and then you layer these together, and you can take this down to negative 15 degrees. That's my kit. I will honestly say I do not have much that I would change. I think the only thing that I would change in retrospect, I wouldn't even change, I just probably wouldn't bring it, is I didn't use the down pants. I still typically like to take them for safety, and I didn't use any of the rain gear. I probably could have left some of that behind, knowing the weather, knowing the forecast, but that's tough. It's tough when you're going out in a scenario like this to be willing to leave some of that behind, so I don't regret taking it, but I did not use those pieces at all. If you have things that you feel like you would change in my gear list, drop that down in the comments below. If you have not seen that trip yet, click up here and go watch that video, and we will see you guys out on the trail.